All right, welcome. So, what are we doing as software developers, actually? We talk about our code day in, day out. We want to make cleaner code, nicer code, more maintainable code. We're talking about, should we use, especially at DevOps, should we use a microservice architecture? Should we stick with our monolith? We talk about which web framework should we use, which database should we use, all this stuff. So, and then we talk about our products. How can we make that better? How can we make the user experience of our products better and stuff like that? So we talk about our products and think about our products day in, day out. What we sometimes forget to talk about and to think about is how do we want to work together as a team, as an organization? What should we improve? What are our values that we stay for? So we sometimes tend to forget to talk about our culture, but it's really important, and this is what this talk is about. So, but first I have a warning. You may think, Sven, hey, come on, all these things you're saying today, that's profane. That's obvious. We should do that. Yeah, maybe it is obvious. Maybe you have heard that before. But sometimes it's good to be reminded what is really important for us as a team, as an organization. What should we focus on? On the other side, I'm talking in this talk a little bit about to be transparent. On the other hand, we're talking also about to be open and discuss things. And these things go and be nice to each other. And these things go hand in hand. You cannot be transparent but not be nice to each other. That's not working out. So things are putting in perspective in this talk. So like actually every speaker that's doing a talk and they want to talk about a topic, they think about, hey, what is culture? So what is the topic about? And like every speaker, you go to a web page like Wikipedia. And Wikipedia has a page about organizational culture. So that's great. So I went to Wikipedia, and on Wikipedia it says culture is about our values, our visions, our norms, our systems, our symbols, our language, our assumptions, our beliefs, and our habits. And if you read this article, it takes you maybe 5 minutes or so. If you read this article, you think about this. What is culture now? I have no freaking clue. It's like this here. What is that? Is that a hamster or a rabbit? Or you cannot really touch it. And this is the same with culture. It's fluffy. It's very fluffy, and you cannot really explain what culture is, like Wikipedia tried to. So first thing, I tried to explain what culture is. I failed. Sorry for that. So second try. Let's talk a little bit about a culture that the developers love. Sorry. Huh. Right. So what does developers love? Well, beer on tap. That's great. Beer on tap. Yeah. Who loves beer on tap in the office? Yeah. Right. So this is our Sydney office here. The next, ping pong and free food. That's also great, to just go to the kitchen, grab some free food. Great culture, awesome. Or developers love Nerf guns. Woo, yeah. So we're shooting around with Nerf guns at Atlassian all the time. Not all the time. We're also doing some programming work for Jira and Confluence, but in between, we're shooting with Nerf guns. Great, isn't it? Great culture. Yeah, let's go for it. This is actually nothing to do with culture. It's nothing to do with culture. Maybe it shows a little bit what culture shines through, but I will say it's had absolute nothing to do how we work together. Okay, second try. I failed again to explain to you what culture is. So let's give it a third try here. Let's have a bad culture example. Let's give some example here from the opposite side. So I won't say, so my example is from previous work, and I won't say it's a bad culture at all, but it shows a little bit that something is wrong with the culture. So I was the team lead of the web development team, and there was an embedded team that was doing some embedded software. And our web software had to talk to the embedded software, and once I found a bug in the embedded software. So I raised a bug in Jira and said, hey, come on, there's a bug in your software. And it came back with won't fix. I said, what the fuck? Why won't fix? I mean, it's obvious, it's a bug. You should fix that. And they said, okay, what I did is I talked to my manager, that talked to the manager of the embedded team, that talked to their team, and we had a meeting after 1 week, so we sat together, and they said, yeah, it's not really a bug, but yeah, we do it anyway. So they planned it, and I got the fix, I think, 3 weeks later, so I could go on with my web software then. I mean, that shows that really something is wrong here in working together, to stay together as a team, to work together as a team. But why are actually companies acting like that? Why is it? I think we can blame him here. It's his fault. Does anybody know who that is? Sorry? Okay. Well, it's Frederick Winslow Taylor. So he's famous for his Taylorism. So beginning of last century, he said, okay, we want efficient workers. So we are working on these assembly lines. So we want some efficient workers here. So people that go to work, put stuff together, so things are repeatable, and then they should go home at 5 o'clock or whatever. So just easy work, something that is repeatable, because we need a predictable output at the end of the assembly line. So we needed to know how much television we can produce or how much cars we can produce each day. So work was very easy. But there were some people that had to put together these assembly lines, that had to think about how can I put together these efficient workers so I can have the maximum output at the end of the assembly line. And they invented these guys here. The managers. Yay! The thinking managers. So the managers were the ones that were supposed to think. Well, I think somehow we still have that nowadays in some companies too. But actually, times have changed. Times have actually changed because work has changed. We're not these people anymore that just put something together. We use our brains. We want to come up with new ideas. We are knowledge workers. So not only that work has changed and we need to be creative, also people have changed. People have also changed. So people want to see they want to see their ideas come to life. So if they have a great idea and they want to see that come alive and they work hard for it. So people have also changed. They don't just want to go to work, put stuff together, and then go home and said, I have just put stuff together. I have created something. So people have also changed. Companies, I see there's this change, yeah, but it's a slow change. Companies are slowly changing into that direction. So to sum this up, in the past we were a little bit working like Fred Flintstone, 5 p.m., the horn blows, yabba dabba doo, down the dinosaur, home to Wilma. Now we are a little bit more like this guy here, the Incredibles. So there's a bad guy, so we have to fight him. Yeah, there's something happening, so I stay one day until 9 p.m. in the office, but then I maybe next week I take a day off for that. So we really want to see ourselves in our work. So I'm happy to work for a great company like Atlassian. I work there as an evangelist. And well, I started at Atlassian 4 years ago, where we were 300 people. And it's a fun place to work. We don't dress up like this all the time. I mean, this was our Halloween party. So that's why it looks like we put some costumes on. And Atlassian has also changed. I mean, now 4 years later, we are 1,700 people, and we look more like this now. Well, actually not. This was our formal Friday. We're doing this once or twice a year, where we put on suits. Instead of a casual Friday, we do a formal Friday. So what's important for culture for us is innovation. So let's have a look at a culture of innovation. So it's innovation. It's a little bit like this when we talk about innovation. It's innovate or die. Put some innovation into your products, or your competitor will overtake you. You need to do that. You need to do that. I mean, you need to put some new things into your product, otherwise there will be coming some startup or some competitor that will overtake you. So how do companies motivate their employees to put innovation into their products? Well, they can say, hey guys, be innovative. You should be innovative, go and innovate, do some innovative stuff. That doesn't really work, does it? No. No. Okay, so they have another idea. So we give you money. We give you 500 euros or dollars for an innovative idea. So, and you submit this innovative idea then to the innovation committee that looks at your idea and thinks, well, is it innovative? Is it not? Maybe it is. Okay, good. But are we doing that? No, we're not doing that. So, well, that doesn't really also motivate me to put. I mean, I've done that. I put my innovative idea to this committee, and they have looked at it, and that doesn't really motivate me. I mean, it takes time for me to write everything up and stuff like that. So I said, no, let this pass on. But how do you actually motivate your developers to come up with innovative ideas, to innovate? Well, what you could do is, what you should do is actually, there's a very easy answer to that. You just give them time. Give them time to try out their innovative ideas. I mean, everyone comes up with a good idea. Everyone in the company comes up with a good idea. It's just we're lacking time to try that idea out. So what we do at Atlassian is we're doing hackathons, and we're doing this quarterly. So we call that Ship It Days. I mean, they were formerly known as FedEx Days until FedEx said, please don't use that anymore. Because we were in the Google ranking, we were coming over when you Googled FedEx. Our FedEx Days were just before FedEx was coming. So anyway, so we call them now Ship It Days, and Ship It Days are actually 24-hour hackathons. So we started Ship It Day with some brainstorming. We come together, think about these ideas, actually before we start the Ship It Day, and then teams are forming around ideas. So we have teams working on one idea that we really want to see come to life. And then on a Thursday, 3 p.m., we're starting the Ship It Day. And it's not only developers doing Ship It Days, also finance people or service people are doing Ship It Days. So for example, in the last Ship It Day, they have some team has built a whiskey bar into our office. So behind the door, there's now a secret whiskey bar. So it's all these ideas, and we're trying also to improve our products in this Ship It Day. And after on a Friday, then after 24 hours, we come together again. And the key is to show something. So the aim of the Ship It Day is to ship something at the end. So the key is because actually we show it to the whole company, and that's actually the great effect that you have. Everyone, including management, founders, are looking at these ideas and say, yeah, this is great. This is awesome. So for example, the Ship It Day project was this year. For HipChat, we have a translator, so it's automatically translating the HipChat message you type into your language, and it translates automatically into the other language that your coworkers are logged into. So, and that's a great idea, but I think it will never end up in our products. But we have examples where actually new products are born at Ship It Days. But it's not always that's the case. So what do you get out of a Ship It Day? Well, so first, a working prototype. So it's really just a prototype. You just forked the code base and hack the hell out of it. Actually, we recently shipped inline comments in Confluence. And it took us 4 Ship It Days. So 4 times we tried it. It worked, but it was a hack. We couldn't really put that to our customers, so it was a hack in the code. And after the 4th time, we said, okay, this is something we can really put in the products, and then we shipped it. So it takes some time sometimes. But then also it makes the developers happy. This is actually the reason why I became a developer. I wanted to see my ideas come to life, and that makes me happy. If people are looking at it and says, "Hey, Sven, that's a great idea, and it looks awesome," that makes me really happy. Well, so this is really innovation for the masses. It's not some innovation department that comes up with all these great ideas and is allowed to try it out. It's really for everyone. So ship it days are for everyone in the company to come up with great ideas and to try their great ideas. Because actually, ideas can happen to anyone at any time. The secretary can have a great idea, or service, finance, legal people, all can have great ideas. It's just about to give them the possibility to grow these ideas. All right, let's talk a little bit about happiness. We all want to be happy at work. So what are companies doing to make you happy at work? Well, I give you a great job, great, but something more. Well, you probably know that, and you're doing the same thing. We're doing this also. We come together, I know, once a year, summer, and have these summer parties. This is actually our Family and Friends Day, where we can invite our family and friends and have fun together. And it's really good to build relationship within the company that you normally not have, because you don't normally talk to legal or finance people, but you can do that on these events. Another thing that we're doing is, of course, team building events. You probably have the same, where you come together in a team and learn about the strengths and weaknesses of your coworkers. This is also great. And then we're also doing something like end of fiscal year parties. Last year it had the theme Games of Code. And what we do there is we're forming teams from different parts of the company, and then we have to fulfill some tasks during this end of fiscal year party. And this is really, you learn other people from other parts of the company. You get to know them, so you build relationships. And this is also what it gives you. It builds relationships to other parts of the company. That's great. And especially these team building events are good for learn about the strengths and weaknesses, to know who can I trust in really extreme situations, and who freaks out in extreme situations. So that's also very important for your daily work to learn these things. But said that is, we're doing this maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. But what are we doing on a daily basis or weekly basis? We are agile. We're sprinting. So, and what should we do at the end of the sprint? What was it? Oh yeah. We should do a retrospective. So we look back, said, what can we do better? What went not so good in this sprint, and what should we improve for the next sprint? And then you go on to the next sprint, look back, on to the next sprint, look back, and you constantly work on your backlog to reduce your backlog. Well, so we tend to forget something here, which is really, really important, because it's actually about also to see what we accomplished. What have we done? So my favorite movie is from the 80s. That shows maybe my age, but it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Does anybody here know Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Oh, yeah, 3 guys, that's always, okay. That shows my gray hair here. Okay, good. So Ferris says a very important sentence here, and he says, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. And that's so true also for our software development. We should stop and celebrate our wins. We should really stop and see what did we do, what did we accomplish, what did we achieve here. So stop and celebrate your wins. Very, very important. And it's not about just your. So what you could do is to organize a release party, for example. So you do a big release and you organize a party, invite people, and have fun together. Or you could do a team offsite. So take the team out and celebrate your team wins. Or if you don't get support from the management that much, what you could do is to just bake a cake and celebrate, invite a stakeholder, eat the cake, and talk about what you accomplished. That's also good. Okay, but said that is, we are very privileged as software developers. Why? Because we really create something. Not every team at Atlassian can say that. For example, the service team, what should they celebrate? I mean, answering what we have answered 500 support cases. Yeah, great, let's celebrate. You know, it's not like that. So what our service team did is actually they came together and said, okay, what are we staying for? So what are our values? So they wrote up their service team values. So these are the values of our service team. They wrote them up and said, this is what we stay for, this is what we're proud of. And they printed a poster They printed a poster and hang it in the office, in each office. So, but if you go and come in, day out to the office and see that, hey, make the customer awesome, and you see that on a daily basis, well, it's getting blurry. You don't really think this is really important for us anymore. So even though this is really important for the team, but then you look at it and say, yeah, make the customer awesome, whatever. But also our service team, they recognized that and said, okay, good. What we should do is really to stop and celebrate our cultural rock stars. So they do now. They come together every 14 days, together as a team, and then they celebrate their rock stars. So they write a poem for someone who did something extraordinary, or a rap song, or they take the guitar on and start singing.
Oh, Rick and Jen, this song is for you. Let's talk about these 6 weeks and what we've been through. Oh, Rick, how much whiskey can you drink? Night and the night will last in the night. And you still get hella shit done.
Yeah, so think about how Rick and Jeff felt after they heard this song. They felt great. They felt really, really great. So stop and celebrate your small and big wins. That really makes us happier. But it helps us also to focus and say it's not important how many support cases we answer, but just our values. That is something that counts for us. So how happy are you? You're quite happy here, I guess. I mean, you're hanging around now for 3 days here at DevOps Poland. Great, had fun, good. So you're pretty happy, I guess. But what about your team? Do you know how happy your team is? Do you know that actually? How can you find out how happy your team is? How does organizations try to find out how happy their workers are? So organizations are doing stuff like this here. Hey, here's something, fill it out, and now we know how happy you are and what you love and what you don't love. Well, but said that is, actually, this sucks and is a slow feedback loop. If you do that once a year or maybe even twice a year, slow feedback loop. So we thought, okay, good, we have to do something else here. We want to have fast feedback from the people that want to find out how happy they are. So what we did actually in a Ship It day, we created this one here, an iPad app, and we call that the Mood app. So we created this one, put an iPad on every exit at Atlassian, and people could vote how happy they are. So they could say, I'm pretty happy, I'm in between or not. And then we could measure the happiness of the organization. So we could really see happiness is going up or going down. So we have to do something, maybe talk to the unhappy people. That would be good. But also, if you do that day in, day out, maybe that's a little bit boring. So we adopting the questions. So we're asking also, does your manager understand you? Does he know what you love and what you don't love at work? Stuff like that. Or after our end of fiscal year party, we ask, hey, how happy are you? And most people were pretty happy, but more feeling like the guy here on the right-hand side. Happy, but not well. So we open source that. You can download that on Bitbucket if you want. And I have the slides on SlideShare. You can find that if you look for the link. Okay. But Atlassian is not the only company that asks regularly their employees how happy they are. There are also Spotify, for example. And Spotify actually asked their employees, and they said, 91% of their employees were happy. Boom, 91%. That's a big number. That's a great number. So, okay, good. They could go on and say 91%. That's awesome. But what they wanted to find out is, what's with the unhappy people? So they really talked to the unhappy people and found something that they could fix. So they talked to them, found some flaws, and they fixed it. And then they got actually 94% of the employees happy. You cannot get everyone happy, but at least they know the rest 6% why they are unhappy people. But it's not just about happy times, to be honest. I mean, that would be great. Everything is about happy times. So a few years ago, when we were running a product called Jira Studio, that was our first cloud product. So you could, and we hosted that on servers. So we had actually a company that was hosting that for us, and we were just doing the updates. And we had that on this cloud instance. So our host company, they said, okay, this happened, and this is the hard disk crashed on some servers. So, okay, good, hard disk crashed. What we said then is, okay, that's bad, but let's put in the backup. You did backups. Said, yeah, we did backups, but unfortunately we did it on the same hard disk as the program run. So, I mean, shit happens, but it's just really bad. And so it was really, really a bad time. Now we can laugh about it. Not really, but it was really a bad time because we really lost data from our customers. So what we did is actually we shared the pain with the whole organization. So first thing is here, we took this seriously. So the Jira developers, they stopped working immediately. Everyone stopped working immediately and tried to help these customers to get back up to work. So they can back up to work. So maybe you get these notification emails in Jira. So they wrote importers, so you could put in your notification emails and import that back into Jira, and we would create the issues. Stuff like that. So we really tried to help the customer to get up to speed. There was no finger pointing, so we didn't say, okay, it's his fault or her fault or whatever. All hands on fixing what happened there and fixing and bring the customer back to work. And what's also important was there was a constantly update. So we knew what everyone in the company was informed what happened and what's going on. That's also very important. Sometimes your management says, oh, it's going not so good, and then you don't hear 3 months from it anymore, and you think, oh, it's going to be fine again, but then they come back and say, oh no, it's even worse now. So informing on a regular basis helps also to keep people up to date what's happening. For example, I knew that the hard disk so I wasn't involved in that, but I knew that the hard disk was sent to Norway to get some data out of them. So I could tell the customers that we're trying everything here. And sharing the pain is actually, we win as a team, but we also lose as a team. Staying together as a team. And if you really go through a crisis like this and get up again, this really makes you stronger as a team to do that. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is a little bit of balancing your passion. So why do we code? Well, we code because, I can say that from myself, I code because creating great software, that makes me happy. So what are the ingredients for creating great software? What do I need to create great software? So let's ask the Swedish chef here. What are the ingredients for great software? What do we need? So please give me some good tooling. Tooling is pretty important, so please give me some good tooling. That's for one thing. Then I want support from the management. I don't want my managers to say, I remove 3 people here or 5 people there. I want support from management that this project is important, so I can plan. Also, when I push the deadline, my management knows, okay, that's pretty serious. If he pushes the deadline, yeah, we trust him that everything will be fine at the end. Of course, we're talking about culture here. So I need people that have a great culture of respecting each other and trusting each other. And then we need something like the Swedish chef here, very passionate developers. Well, for people who knows the Swedish chef, he's very passionate, but I won't eat what he's cooking. So let's add talent to the mix. So passionate talent developers. And I create you great software. Give me that and I create you great software. Is that really true? I said here, coding, creating makes us happy, but there's some important ingredient that was missing here, and that is the customer. The customer gets great software. And if I create great software for the customer, that actually makes me happy. That makes me happy. And we sometimes talking about code all the time, and we tend to forget the customer. But said that is we have great customers at Atlassian. So for example here, meet Emma. Emma is a customer of ours. So Emma is actually, she just started with Confluence, so she doesn't know everything in Confluence. So if we create a new feature, we want to make it discoverable, easy to use for Emma. So we think about how will Emma use this feature, so we make it easy to use for Emma. But said that, Emma is not our only customer. For example, meet William. William he uses Confluence for a long time. So if we make the feature maybe easy to use for Emma, maybe we fuck things up for William. Because he knows every keyboard shortcut and he wants to have keyboard shortcuts. So we also have to think, how will William use this feature? But said that, these people, honestly, they don't exist. They are fake. We made them up. They actually represent customers of ours, and we call them personas. So we use personas to keep our developers, that our developers keep our customers in their minds. So for example, Emma, how do we do that? Emma, we write these cards here that tells a little bit about Emma, what she's doing, what she likes, and then we have these scorecards that shows what software does Emma use. So we know Emma a little bit better. We know her a little bit personally, and we put these things all over the office so people get reminded of these personas, that these are the important customers that we have. So we remind people really everywhere. And if I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. So even on the bathrooms, we remind people on these personas. And people take that and come up with personas, new personas all the time, like Vernon the Voyeurist. But also said that's good. But if you do that we're now doing that for 2-3 years to remind our developers that these are our customers. Well, also here it gets a little bit blurry. You see these personas hanging everywhere, and it's also getting a little bit blurry. So what we recently did is we used persona cards. So every time we talk about a new feature, we created these cards, so with some questions on the back, so we can ask questions about this persona. And then we are going to play some cards actually. If we sit together with designers, developers, IT people, and discover this new features, product managers, we play some cards and we argue with these personas. So we take the persona card and say, hey, but William will use it that way. And then we draw the storyline. So we visualize the whole storyline, and we draw that on big boards and stick paper to it, stick these personas to it. And then people can come to these boards, so they are there in the floors, in the hallways of Atlassian, and they come to this, and they can actually take the pen and write something on it. It says, hey, but William would use it that way. So what I want to say is that you should be passionate about what you do. Be passionate about what you do, because actually you spend 8 hours a day building a product, so better be passionate and use this time. And if you do that, actually, your product will be great. It will probably look like this here, a great product here, nice, shiny, everything is cool. And then your customer comes and says, yeah, I love your product. So can you, but there's this small thing that is annoying, so can you please change that? And you said, yeah, cool, I do that. I open my IDE, look at the code, and your code looks like this inside. Well, that's also not good. Because maybe you make it nice for your customers, but you forget something else there. You should have engineering values, and this is what I want to say about. So, and I will show you 3 or 4 engineering values from Atlassian. Doesn't mean that this is your engineering values. Actually, some teams at Atlassian have different and slightly different engineering values, but just to get an idea what I mean with engineering values. So, for example, if you see code like this here, and I've seen that actually in every code base, you give it a Boolean, returns a Boolean. Yeah, well, it doesn't do anything. But anyway, so I've seen that in every code base, but we have a value that says don't write crappy code. So if you see crappy code, you should refactor it, you should delete it, whatever, make it nice. Don't write crappy code. And sometimes people come to you and ask you, hey, I know it will take you 1 week, but I know you can do that in 1 day, and here, if you do that fix here and this backdoor thing, and then you can do that. say no. Say no if you know that you don't have time to make it at the end make it nice. So if you know that will harm the code, say no because of this value here. Don't write crappy code. Okay, another code example looks like this. If you can read that, well, it's actually it's an array of names, goes to a zip file, entries, iterate over it. So, and if you find the name in the zip file, returns true. Well, I think this code is okay. It's okay. Probably you can do something better, but anyway, it looks good. But if you use Java 8, you should write something else. You should use the Stream API to do that. Always look for a better solution. Always look for a better. That's another value that we have. Always try to find a better solution. Okay, are people from Brazil here in the room? No? Okay, good. Then I can show the next slide. So, I'm from Germany, so I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. The result doesn't matter, or does it? Anyway, so what you see here on the scoreboard, not every scorer fit on the scoreboard. So a scroll bar would be a solution, but maybe not the right solution for television. But always the value is try and find better ways. Always try and find better ways. And you probably have people in your team, in your organization, that are passionate and always find a better way that says, okay, Maven sucks, we use Gradle now. Say, oh, yeah, but it takes us a really long time to move everything over from Maven to Gradle. So, and you have these passionate people that always want to discuss things. Don't get me wrong, they are very important. I call them the prima donnas. They run around and want to discuss and want to change everything. But we have an engineering value is put your passion into the products. I mean, it's good to discuss something, but at the end we should put our passion into the products to bring that to our customers, the passion. So if you have discussions with a prima donna like this, yeah, it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad, forth and back, point out to this value and say, turn your passion into the products. Well, this was just a few engineering values from Atlassian, so we have some more. But the important thing here is that you should write them down so you can refer to them at the end. So you can say, yes, this is. I know we can do the shortcut, but we have this value here. Don't write crappy code. So write them down. And actually, the Bitbucket team, for example, they have a big poster with their engineering values. So they see them every day, and they can point to that and say, no. We should turn our passion into products when it's an endless discussion. So what I wanted to say is balance your passion between make the code good, have engineering values, but don't forget the customer. So balance your passion here. Okay, culture of being one team. Want to be one team. Let's talk a little bit about teams. 12. What's 12? Well, 12 seems to be the natural team size. I don't say that every programming team should be 12 people, but it seems to be the natural team size. When we go back into the Stone Age, we were around 12 people hunting the mammoth. So that seems to work out as a team. Next number, 150. 150, anyone idea? Well, 150 is Dunbar's number. And Dunbar's numbers tells us how many stable relationships we can maintain. So if companies actually grow above this 150 size, you don't know each other's name anymore, you don't recognize every face anymore, you don't know in which department this guy or girl works. So what happens then is mostly that there are some silos. The cool guys, like we developers, and the not so cool guys like the, finance people. But this is of course not good. We don't want to work in silos. We need to work together to accomplish something great. So what we want to do is we want to bring people together. So if we, for example, as software developers say, hey, legal people, we found this open source library, can we use that? And they're looking at the license, and the legal people says, no way. I say, as software developer, you say, well, you don't understand us. It's very important, and I save so much time if I just use this open source library. And the legal people say, nope, I don't see it coming. We should bring people together. They should understand each other better. So if we actually think about the legal people looking like this, anonymous guy, or girl, yeah, I hate those people. Well, but if you have a picture in mind, so looks like this. Well, actually, he's smiling, he's looking nice. So maybe I just go over to his desk and talk to him or her. So it's very important to give some personality to people and to bring people together. So what you do actually at Atlassian is in the first week, you need to write an introductory blog post. So every Atlassian needs to write an introductory blog post, and that's read by a lot of Atlassians then. So this is Benjamin. He's not a legal guy, he's a designer, but Benjamin came from New Zealand to Atlassian, and then he was sharing some personal stuff, so he's playing guitar, and then we can discuss some things with Benjamin. For example, if he plays football, and we know we have a football team that meets every Thursday, so come and play, so we can talk to Benjamin through this blog post. And that makes the company much more transparent, and transparency is very important. And we share a lot of stuff at Atlassian. We share our wins, our fails, our decisions, and our questions that we have. So for example, our wins, our design team has won a design award, great, they shared it, they are very proud of it, and they share this with the whole company. Or our fails. So for example, we're doing 20% time, and Nick here has written up a blog post why 20% time is broken, because it was actually we measured it and it was 7% time. But at the same thing, he's starting the conversation. He's opened up the conversation and says, hey, but how can we fix that? We know this is important, 20% time, but how can we actually fix that? Or if you got a question like our founder, Scott Farquhar, he had a question and asked us, hey, how do you see Atlassian in the year 2016? What do you want to see? In which direction should we go? And as you see, this was a very, very important question, and we got 182 answers from Atlassians. And one of the highest voted answer was that we should open source this culture because we are so proud of that. Every company should use our culture or have a similar culture. Talking about questions. So and transparency, you probably do the same thing. You come together in this, we call this all-hands meeting. And this is our founder doing his all-hands meeting every month, where he's talking about what's the state of the company, what are we after, how does the numbers look, and stuff like that. And at the end of this thing, we involve, of course, the employees and says, hey, does anyone have questions? And I was sitting in these all-hand meetings also, and I'm a shy guy, and I'm a little bit afraid of asking questions in front of the audience. Maybe I think it's a stupid question, or maybe it's too provocative, and I got fired the next day. So I avoid asking questions in this big audience. So and we have some people like that. Maybe the majority of the people are like that. So what we actually did is we asking actually everyone before the all hands. In conference questions, we ask them, hey, what are your questions? And then you can vote for questions. And our founders have to answer the top 15 questions, no matter what the questions are. They have to answer them. So that makes the company very transparent. Transparency, very, very important for us, but you should also know your transparency enemies. Something that is destroying your transparency, like the phone. If you do discussions on the phone, well, nobody is actually documenting that, your decisions there. So this is a transparency enemy. Emails, obviously, so much information are buried somewhere in an email thread, also not transparent. And then the water cooler, so discussions that you have around the water cooler, where you just meet people and discuss it and make decisions there, that's also not transparent. So you should avoid making decisions over these things. So what we learned and what we wanted to remove that, we wanted to be more transparent, is since we use chat, that helps us a lot. So for example, I have 70% less internal email since we use chat. So let me show you how we use chat. So for example here, every team has its own chat room. So they can chat in the chat room. All decisions are documented in the chat room. And if someone is not there at the moment, the whole history is of course stored in the chat room. So he or she can go back, look at what discussions has been made, and jump into the discussion right away if he or she has been in a meeting or traveling. And you can connect with experts. So we have these expert chat rooms where experts are hanging out. And if you don't have to call someone up, you don't have to know a name, you just go into this expert chat room and discuss problems there. So for example, our build engineering team has its own chat room where they are responsible for the whole build infrastructure. So if we have problems or a question there, we can raise that in the chat room, and I don't have to know who's actually there from an expert. I just ask my questions, and I know all the experts are in that room, and my questions get answered. And we connect our systems, our automatic systems. We connect them with our chat, so we can actually have things that happens. And have discussions around that, like for example, pull requests. So if there's a pull request and I'm interested in the solution, I can ask, hey, can you add me as a reviewer to this pull request? Or builds, if the build failed, that's also shared through the chat, and then I can say, okay, who's fixing that directly here? Or if somebody deploys something, I get a chat notification. Or also if an exception happens on the server that has never been seen before, this exception, I get this as a chat notification, and I can actually say, okay, good, let's fix that, or I have an idea what's happening there. And you actually can connect the whole organization. So we have also cross-team chat rooms, like our HipChat marketing chat room, where we just one back, where we actually have different experts hanging around. So this was for our HipChat server launch, where we actually had engineers, marketing, PR, all working together that this launch was successful. And transparency is actually about bringing people together. And I can say that actually also about remote workers, that I'm a remote worker, so it helps also to spread the culture around the organization. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is a culture that scales. So let's talk about scaling a little bit. 12, I said it's a natural team size, but I don't believe that 12 people is a good developer team size. Our developer teams are around 6 to 8 people, so this is our developer team size, including, of course, so we have cross-functional teams, so this includes product managers, QA, and designers, and all people that are involved in the team. So if we have a designer in one team and we don't need it in the next sprint or in the next iteration, he can or she can go to another team easily. So we can move people around teams here because we have actually trained some employees that has design skills with some design knowledge. But sometimes maybe you need a designer immediately, so no problem, you connect back and the designer can go to your team. There's no really, we have cross-functional teams and they can move from team to team. So if your product grows, your organization grows, you probably have more teams working on one product. And I think organizations are falling into that trap that they do things like that. Have a front-end team, so experts in the front-end team, experts in the performance teams, and database experts in the database team. Well, I think that's not a good idea, because if you develop a feature, what you get is coordination problems. Because everyone is involved here the database is involved, the performance is involved, and the front end involved. So you have to coordinate these things. And also what you'd have is, it's missing a little bit the customer relation. So we don't have a database persona that says, I want an awesome database. It's not there. So these people missing a little bit the customer relation. So we tend to not to do that, to have these teams, this front-end performance and database teams, specialists in one team. So we have teams and themes. So we're thinking more in themes. So for example, for the Confluence team, there's an easy start team that cares about that you can easily start with Confluence. So if you don't use Confluence on a daily basis, and you can easily start with, we have enterprise teams that cares a little bit about big customers. And then we have developer teams that cares about the Jira Confluence integration. And these teams are actually autonomous. So one team can use a tool, and the other team don't use a tool for that at all. Or one team can have daily meetings, and the other team just meet when necessary. So this is autonomous. We have autonomous teams at Atlassian. But if there's an expert team that has written maybe most of the mobile code, and you one day need support for that, so you need support from the team, you want to change something there, what you could do is, of course, you could go to the team lead and ask the team lead, hey, can we get support from your team? Can you help us out here? And the team lead might say, yeah, sure, we are cool guys, but you have to wait 2 sprints. We have other priorities here. So you're stuck somewhere. Just 3 words for that. So our teams just do it. They just go ahead and do it. And we call that a duocracy. So our duocracy is actually built on autonomy and trust. So autonomous teams, and we trust each other that we don't fuck things up. But that said, that can end into chaos. Really, that can end. Every team is running around wild. So what we do is actually we add transparency to the mix. So we work very transparent in these autonomous teams. So for example, when we have a new idea about something like we did with the Confluence page layouts that we launched 2 years ago, we actually shared that with all the other teams. So we were writing the spec, and we shared that with all the other teams. The Easy Start team was doing that, and then they shared it with the enterprise team, and they had some comments on it. So we were writing down everything, and actually also people that has nothing to do with development were commenting on this. So it gets the whole company's input there. So we're sharing that. And then it goes to changing code. So you change other people's code, but even though there's nothing like other people's code, because we share everything. Actually, Spotify says to this, we have internally open sourced everything. So it's internal open source. But how do you make sure that you don't fuck things up in other people's code, or in code that have been written by other people? Yeah, you do code reviews. But who's actually the best person to check this? To look at the code. So what we did is actually we wrote an add-on for our own Git repository manager that calls auto-suggest reviewers. So this one suggests reviewers automatically, depending on if he or she actually has recently changed the file or is the original author of the file. So this must be an expert for the code, so it's automatically suggested here. And then at the end of the development phase, so when we're done, we're doing demos. So we're sharing the results with actually the whole company can participate. So the whole company is invited to go to team demos, and so you can go to other teams' demos and see what they have done, and then we're sharing the results here. So our team demos are regular. So we do it actually every week or every 2 weeks. And then they are open for everyone to join, and you get honest feedback. So if you see a team struggles, you can say, okay, good, I move over for the next 3 weeks to that team and help them that they can get up to speed again. So this is our duocracy. And as I said, built on autonomy, transparency, and trust. And this transparency gives us a lightweight, a lightweight control. So we don't have a big process where everyone has to sign up something, the project plan, have a signature under this. It's actually a lightweight control that we don't get into chaos. And this actually scales for us as an organization, and we keep the development speed. This is also important for us, that we keep our development speed. If you grow as a company, and you hire new people, and hiring is very important for your culture. So how do you make sure that people fit into your culture? The first advice here is, of course, be picky. Inspect your candidates very carefully, not only if they are good programmers, technical okay, but also if they fit into your culture. So what we do is actually, so we're checking some stuff with this applicants. So we ask, okay, what's a programming skills, experience, and then we have something we call the beer test. So we think about, will we go out with that person on a Friday evening and have a beer with him or her? Well, we recently changed that to not call it the beer test because that makes us look like alcoholics. We changed that to sidewalk test. So the question is here, if you meet that person on your sidewalk, would you rather cross the street and avoid meeting him or her? Maybe not good then. So this is our cultural fit test that we do with just thinking about it. So if people are good at these first things, but miss the sidewalk test, maybe it's not a good fit for our company. On the other side, if people are actually lacking experience, yeah, well, we can give them experience, so it's definitely higher. But be aware here, be aware. This can easily end up that you have this programmer effect. So you have all the same people that all are the same, that think the same things and laugh about the same jokes. This is also not what you want to have. You want to have diversity. So if you've done that, you have hired for your cult, but not for your culture. You should hire for your culture, and new people with new thoughts are really growing your culture. So hire for a diverse culture because you want to have diversity of thought in your products, and otherwise you will not come up with new ideas here. Okay, but once you're hired, you have to get into this strong culture that we have, and this can be very, very hard. And you're feeling a little bit like this guy here. Hey, the cool kids are playing there, and I'm staying here, I'm the new guy. So we want to avoid that. I mean, we want everyone to be part of our teams, of our culture. We want to avoid that. So we're trying to give everyone that starts at Atlassian actually a buddy, someone who takes care of this new person, that helps him or her to get up to speed. So everyone gets a buddy, so you don't have to sit alone at the lunch table. Or if you have a question, you can reach out to your buddy, and you hear, okay, the developer are going out on Friday evening, so you might join if you want. But not only that, so for example, the San Francisco team, they have the beer bike, so if you start there, you have to drive around the beer bike, and then you stop every Friday afternoon, you stop, and then you have conversations with the rest of the people there, and also you get and people are pretty interesting. And hey, you're the new guy or girl. Let's have a conversation. So which team have you joined? What are your tasks at Atlassian? Yada yada yada. So 2 minutes left. I've talked about a lot of things here. So I've talked about have the customer mind, transparency, autonomy, and trust. So do you know now what culture is? Probably not. I mean, it's still this fluffy thing. I mean, I've been talking now for almost 1 hour, but the culture, it's still fluffy, and you cannot really touch this. And it's alive. I mean, sure, we have another culture now 4 years later at Atlassian than we had 4 years ago. But we wanted to give the culture a little bit stability, so it doesn't move too much into directions we don't want to have our culture move into. So instead of transparency, we want to have more sticky words to say we're transparent. Yeah, great. So we wanted to have more sticky words. So like we say don't say transparency, we say open company, no bullshit. Or autonomy and trust, we say be the change you seek. Play as a team, build with heart and balance. And instead of have the customer in mind, we say don't fuck the customer. And these are actually our values at Atlassian. And these are pretty important for us. So we use them in every conversation that we have, actually. Nearly every conversation. We said, hey, but that fucks the customer, or hey, we should play together as a team. So these are really, really important. And these values gives our culture more stability. And we really mean that, these values. So we remind people of our values all the time. So if you once meet an Atlassian, ask them, what are your values? And they can say it from the top of their head, because these are really important for us. This is essential for us as a company, these values. Okay, I stop with one more thing. So a few years ago, there was Steve Jobs actually announced Ping, a social network for music. And I'm sure the Ping developers, they were passionate. They were putting their hearts and minds into Ping to make this product awesome. They were thinking about Ping all day long. Where's Ping now? It's not there anymore. They removed it from iTunes. So, and actually, products come and go nowadays. They are there and they are gone. And we want to be around actually the next 50 years, but I'm sure Jira won't be around for the next 50 years. I'm pretty sure it's not in 50 years we'll use something else. Maybe you get an Atlassian brain plug or something. I've no idea, but let's find out. So what I want to say is, what you can do with a great team and a great culture, you can do something, the next big thing. So products come and go actually, but it's actually the culture that stays at the end. So thank you very much.